And we should be live. Well, hello and welcome everybody to what I believe is the 37th episode of Hell in a Handbasket for December 23rd, right before Christmas. So as you can see, Nanya and I are in a festive mood. We are sharing our Christmas spirit with the rest. Yes, Nanya is about to be in a more festive mood. We're sharing our Christmas spirit with our audience, such as we have one. And so Nanya came up with a brilliant idea where we are going to go through our lists of who's been naughty and who's been nice over the course of this year, of us covering all the nonsense that we've managed to cover. So it's something a little bit different, but I mean, we have to, because 'tis the season. There's no other season to do this. The season to do this is right now. So the judgment of Santa Claus, we are going to be dishing it out. As you can see, we're both wearing Santa hats. So we've got our thinking caps on. We're ready
It's really the only time we get to use these hats throughout the year, so we might as well break them out, eh?
That's right. Mm-hmm. Right. So now Nanya, unlike me, Nanya has done a much better job of preparing for his list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use.
I wouldn't say that. It's just Nanya had nothing to do at work today because there was not a soul in the office, so he got bored and he started playing around with a PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
So
that
was really it. It was just like today was nothing going on. I should have taken it off, but. Here we are, hey? Now, I should also say that Bradley and I, we haven't shared our lists with each other. So this is the first time we're seeing each other's respective lists as well. So
we have no idea if we have anything that crosses that we agree with on, that we already have on. We don't know if anything is listed on the list twice, right?
That's right.
But if they are, then they definitely double deserve it. So so I'm going to start with my list. Okay. So here is my first list, my first person on my nice list. No, this might not be expected. Is Liz Truss. Liz Truss. How did she make it on the nice list this year? Well, so Liz Truss made it on the nice list for realizing that there's a deep state, and that the deep state sabotaged her prime ministership. And she does not want to take it lying down. So she started a podcast over it. Liz Truss, it all started where she went on this podcast with this guy, Andrew Gold, some British podcaster. And he has a podcast called Heretics. He interviewed Liz Truss, and she was like, "You won't believe what I found out in my stint as prime minister." She was a politician, British politician before then, right? All this time, this never hit her. It turns out there's a deep state. The deep state actually gets their way, and it doesn't matter if you're prime minister or not. Former Tory leader has used her new YouTube show to double down on the rhetoric that government agencies work together to force her out after 49 days. It makes sense, because remember when British media was like, "Oh, is Liz Truss going to outlast this lettuce?" It's almost like they had some insider info that there's no way she's going to last this long. She has become an early major British adopter of the phrase, which has gained traction in conservative America, where Kash Patel and Marjorie Taylor Greene promoted it. Right. On episode 1 of Liz Truss's show, the ex-PM said, "The deep state tried to destroy me, but now I'm back and excited to launch this show." On the end of her short tenure, she wrote in her 2024 book, 10 Years to Save the West, "Little did I know the establishment was about to use every tool at its disposal to fight back." What is the deep state? Okay, now this is LBC. So the deep state is a theory of an unauthorized secret powers of the network are operating within a government, but independent of the will of an elected official. There is no official definition, but in the UK, it could be referred to an unproven and hypothetical alliance between bodies that include civil service, Bank of England, monarchy, police, state, police and secret services, peers of the House of Lords, media company owners. Liz Truss's comments have also implicated her own Conservative Party within the deep state. This is not an official list, but while it is not a new idea, it has not always been referred to as the deep state. There are powers at work in this country which we have no knowledge about which we have no knowledge. The Queen is alleged to have said to former royal butler Paul Burrell in one potential reference. And British civil service has been cited as an organization onto its own, with television satire, Yes Minister parodying this idea back into the 80s. So I love how they're like saying, oh, you know, it's like this, what is the deep state? Well, it's this conspiracy theory. Liz Truss has figured out that, so I mean, if this is the attitude that they have now, right? Well, she was there. She was in the ultimate hall of power of, and they basically, so Liz Truss, the way that she puts it is that she had tried to pass a mini budget, and she found out really quickly that all of these bureaucrats were going to not let it happen. And it doesn't matter if you're the prime minister, there's some unelected bureaucrats, and that's what she calls the deep state. So she gets to be on the nice list. She deserves nice things, and I hope her podcast does well, because she's doing the right thing. Now, my second one on the list. Go ahead.
Well, let's talk about Liz for 1 second. A few points on Liz Truss. First point, great tits. I don't care what anybody says.
Really? I never noticed.
Yeah, she's got a nice rack to her. Forget about the rest of it. Forget about the lettuce. Forget about her face. Nice set of tits. That's all I'm saying. Check them out.
Let's Google this.
Like tits. Go check it out while I'm talking. And then secondly, thing about Liz Truss. She talks about, you see how that article mentioned the deep state, and it says, oh, it's this theoretical thing. Well, if it's so theoretical, why is the former prime minister, you can't, oh, there we go, that a girl. That's a nice set of jugs, and I don't care what anyone says. You'll agree with me now, thank you. I'm just saying. I got an eye for these things. So if you've got the former prime minister of England referring to the deep state, you've got, just the other day, Tulsi Gabbard. She was talking about the deep state. And you've got all these other people referring to the deep state, all these very powerful former politicians. Is it really a conspiracy theory anymore? Like, remember you and I and everyone else 2-3 years ago, we were talking about the deep state. And when you talked about the deep state, even a couple of years ago, that's what you were called. Conspiracy theorist, doesn't exist, blah, 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 blah. And now in such a short amount of time, see how everything is flipped? That you've got the deep staters are admitting that there's a deep state. So that's all I had to say about Liz Truss. You know,
she found the light, and this is and she's speaking for the right side now, so that's why I put her on my nice list.
I think she's a grifter. I think you're giving her too much credit, but hey, nice tits.
At least she gets on the nice list for that. All right, so my second is I think more expected, Candace Owens. So started this year off not really knowing that much about Candace Owens. Never really watched her stuff. Just was not very familiar with her, but she's a freaking goddamn firecracker. This year, she held no punches. She punched at, she was able to call out genocide. She was able to voice extremely controversial opinions that were places where nobody else was willing to go, with her massive platform and with her reach. Like, for example, her recent discussions about how the FBI was involved with the killing of Charlie Kirk, right? That's not something that everybody, even in the alt media, goes. If she thinks that that's where she needs to go, she's going to go for it. And you know what? She's a dog with a bone. Good on her. I'm now a fan of Candace Owens. So
yeah,
she gets to be on the nice list as well.
Yeah, and a few things about Candace Owens. Number one, great tits. No, I agree with you. I think that for somebody who this time last year, I believe she was unemployed, right? Because she had just gotten fired from the Daily Wire. And now she's built, I think, the biggest podcast in the world. And she's got millions of followers. She says it's the most popular podcast in the world. I don't have the numbers to support that, but she's popular. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And like you said, she's somebody who has really delved into some issues. Some of them are fun. And like you, I didn't know Candace Owens. Like I don't follow a whole lot of podcasts, to be honest. I don't follow a whole lot of like I'm not on social media a whole lot during
You're
the
not
week,
terminally
and
online.
not really, no. And if I am, I'm doing other stuff. So I don't sit down. A lot of these people that like Ben Shapiro, I couldn't tell you what he does or who he is. Candace Owens, all these people I had never really heard of or watched. Matt Walsh, like I know the names, but what they're all about, I couldn't tell you. So
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't heard a thing about her at all. And I stumbled across her because of the Becoming Brigitte series.
Well,
And
it's another good example where she
I
goes
was
there.
I was very skeptical. I was like, okay, what's this all about? I'll check it out because of my disdain for Emmanuel Macron. But I figured it would be something cheesy. But I'll tell you, by the end of that first episode, I was like, oh, yeah, she's a dude. No question about it. And so,
There's something there.
she's gone places that, like you said, a lot of people haven't. And whether it be the Brigitte Macron, and when you look at that series, media hypes it up as being, oh, it's propaganda, it's conspiracy theorists about Brigitte not being a woman, oh, and it's anti-trans, anti-this, blah 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 blah. In reality, if you watch that series, what it's really about is how the old money of Europe maintained their power and how they've maintained their power and influence throughout the years. That's really what this series is about. So if you haven't watched it, look at it with that lens, and it'll open your eyes to a lot of things. Other
Very
things like
interesting. I've not watched it. I should
we
hunt it
have.
down.
Oh, you should watch it. We have, and the other thing she's looked at, like the Charlie Kirk assassination, the attempted assassination of Trump, like all this stuff that the mainstream media is not looking at. Like, and asked this before, how is it that we know absolutely nothing about Trump's shooter
Yeah.
from June or that other
Except for that he
guy
worked
that
for
was
BlackRock at some point.
yeah, like we know absolutely nothing about these people. Yet Lee Harvey Oswald, yeah, everybody at the very least knows the name. I couldn't even tell you their names, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody's going there. So at the very least, she is, and she also backs up her claims. Anytime she says something, she usually has the goods to deliver. So I
Yeah,
think
it's
she's
not. It's
doing
none
good
of it
work.
is throwaway gossip. It doesn't come across
No,
like.
well, the thing what Candace does, she she kind of positions her show as, hey, we're all in this together, right? So
Okay.
here's my thought. Let's all work on this together and see what we come up with. So a lot of the stuff that she's breaking and she's finding out are actually being found out by people on her show, people who watch her show and saying, hey, Candace, look at this, right? So she's kind of given this feeling that, hey, we're all investigating Charlie Kirk. We're all so
Hmm.
I think that that's the appeal of her too, because the people
She's
who are
engaging
watching,
with
yeah,
with.
and I think anybody who's watching Candace Owens, you've checked out of the mainstream media because you realize that they're liars. So yeah, I agree with you 100% on that one.
Yeah, I'm sure she's got some hate watchers, but I think the casual people that hate watch Candace Owens are going to probably be won over too for the reasons that she said. Even you can disagree with her conclusions, but you can't say that, well, this person didn't put in the work to try to back up what it is that she thinks, right? And that's really all that you can ask. We all have opinions, right? Doesn't mean all
Right.
opinions are equal. So she does do the homework. So good for Candace Owens. She's my number 2. Now, number 3, I have. Now, this was a tough one. I don't know, but I decided my naughty list was way easier to do than my nice list, so I ended up putting him on here. So Steve Witkoff. I'm putting Steve Witkoff in the nice list for being in these trying times where America is left without a Secretary of State, without a top diplomat. Steve Witkoff is filling the role. So you know what, Steve Witkoff, thank you for doing the things that. Well, Marco Rubio. What was the Secretary of State before Marco Rubio? I don't even remember right now. Fuck.
Uh, God,
not Kushner. Fuck. It's one of those. I can't even remember him. Whatever. I know the face. Not.
Tony.
Blinken.
Andy Blinken. Yeah.
There you go. Thank you. So we haven't had a diplomat in that office for the last 2 administrations. So it's nice that Steve Witkoff is stepping up and being America's actual diplomat in these trying times when we really need some diplomacy. So Steve Witkoff, for that reason, even though there's a lot of controversy surrounding that. I mean, this time, the last year or 2 years ago, right, or Biden being in office, it would have been unheard of for us to be making this kind of diplomatic progress, actually meeting with the Russians, multiple meetings, right, actually talking about the way that we're going to wrap everything up, the peace deal, right, all of this stuff. So Steve Witkoff has done good. He's not perfect, but he's going to be on my nice list. Now, much in a similar vein, because I mean, of course the biggest humanitarian catastrophe is in Gaza right now, but the biggest war and the biggest danger, nuclear threat to all of us, is the Ukraine war. And anybody that really, really tries to put an end to the Ukraine war, especially in the faces of adverse circumstances, I think deserves to be on the nice list, which is why between Fico and Orban, I'm going to put Orban on the nice list. So Orban, for attempting to, bring peace to his continent, to his neighborhood, for being realistic and judging that Hungary needs to have an energy policy. Hungary needs to have a foreign and domestic policy and has to live in this neighborhood, get along with all of its neighbors, not just some of its neighbors. Seems like it's obvious common sense. For some reason, it's not. So good job on Viktor Orban being the sane, rational person that he is. Remember when he was the chair for the EU for some short period of time, and then he tried to go meet the Russians, and the EU said that this was not sanctioned by us. So he was trying to. He's always been ready to do this, and he's been willing to put himself out there. He's been a target for this. Even other people like Fico have not been a target as much as Orban. So he comes out, he stands strong on what it is that he's trying to do.
Well, Fico did get shot 6 times. So
Fico did.
So he was a bit of a target.
Touche. Yeah. So I think that Orban, Fico, it was just between the two of them. They could be tied for the place, right? They deserve nice things in their stockings. Now, the last one that I have, my number 5, is Nicolas Maduro. Nicolas Maduro is going on the nice list, for being the extremely popular figure that continues. Oh my God, Kat, what are you doing? Are we still recording? My cat just did some shit.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, cool. Cat, stop. But anyway, so right, nice list. Nicolas Maduro, right, being the extremely popular figure that continues to defy the imperialists, the imperialismo. Imperialists, I don't know. I have no idea how they yeah, I've heard him say it a million times. The imperialists, right? Rallying his supporters, his people, not just that, arming them. We constantly, every time we cover Maduro, they're always like, oh, this dictator that everybody hates. The reason why people are fleeing Venezuela is because of this dictator. But also, if there's a war, there might be a humanitarian catastrophe of people that are fleeing. So Nicolas Maduro, and all this time, it always gave me Lukashenko vibes. Remember when there was that, where they were trying to pull a Maidan in Belarus briefly, and Lukashenko showed up in front of the presidential building with an AK-74 with extra ammo, wearing a body vest, to really show, it was kind of cartoonish. It was buffoonish, and I thought it was funny, but the message that he was giving across was I will go down fighting. I'm not Yanukovych, right? I'm going to actually shoot back. I'm not going to just flee with my tail between my legs. I'm not that kind of guy. So Maduro is doing that same exact stuff right now, to the point where I think that maybe they try to Maybe it was a bluff. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe Donald Trump thought that he could try to bluff Maduro out of the presidency, and they could just put this Karina Machado lady in there. But he's not backing down, and to the point where, is that blockade working? I mean, there's a lot of people that are saying it's a failed blockade now. What a huge problem. It's like a problem that you created. You created our own problem. It's not going away. We don't know what the fuck to do about it. So, and Nicolas Maduro is that problem, and he does not give any fucks. He is, I think he's the right man for the job. So he's going on the nice list for, saving Venezuela, protecting Venezuela, not allowing Venezuela to become, look at Ukraine, look at Venezuela. Good job, Maduro. So that is my list of nice people. Now, I think we should do your list of nice, and then we'll do the naughties, right?
Alrighty.
So I think Maduro probably. I had some other runner-ups that I had considered, but I think that those are the most deserving that I could think of.
Okay. Tell me if you can see this.
It's up. Naughty nice.
All right, so I'm glad we didn't look at each other's lists too, because it's nice to be able to compare and contrast our lists together. So first up, we're going to look at the nice ones, and I'm going to start off with Captain Ibrahim Traore, the president of Burkina Faso.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you could put other African leaders in here as well. He's kind of a symbol of the African movement that's going on right now. And the thing about Traore, if you look at the Sahel, the AES, whether it be Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, you have other countries which are moving away from the West, specifically France. And, this is a movement that I haven't seen in my lifetime. You basically have these African states are completely fed up with their colonial masters in mostly France. Mm-hmm. And what we've seen in the last year or so, year and a half, is these militaries in these countries, whether they be the French, whether they be the Americans, whether they be British, they're all getting kicked out of Africa. Yeah, they're all getting kicked out of Africa. And
they're not taking it lying down. But they're fighting back with, local terrorists mostly.
Yeah, and I think the people in Africa, the people in these countries, they know who's funding these Al-Qaeda groups. They know who's funding these terror groups. They know who's arming them. It's the same bunch who claims to be protecting them. It's the West. Mm-hmm. It's France. It's America. And I think it's pretty clear to everybody now that, the U.S. created these terror organizations, and they use them as proxies around the world anytime they need to flare up some sort of conflict. They use these Islamist terror groups, and I don't even think that that's controversial anymore. I mean, it's pretty much all out in the open who funds this.
A leader of ISIS in the White House, not getting arrested. Yeah. How more on the nose can you be?
Exactly. So I think with Traore, he's a symbol. Similar to Thomas Sankara back in the 1980s. He's young, he's energetic, he's good looking, he's well spoken. He's somebody that presents himself very well in front of the camera, and he's somebody who has really changed a lot of minds in Africa, and it's outside of Burkina Faso too. If you
not just minds, he's changed probably the trajectory of the Sahel for the next decade.
Well, let's hope, right? I mean, they try to kill him every few weeks. So it could just be a matter of time. But I think it's promising what we're seeing, on the African continent for the Africans. because I think that they've started to push back against the West. They've
Yeah.
started making all sorts of deals with other countries, specifically, the Chinas, the Russias, the Irans, you name it. And for somebody like Traore, I think that he represents the continent of Africa very well as an oppositionist. And if you talk to other Africans, like they all know Traore and they all support him.
And they all love him.
Yeah. So I really see that this shift from Africa. I don't think the West is going to get Africa back. I really don't. I don't think they're sick of the game.
And they can see the game too. It's not just us getting wise to the game; they're getting wise to the game too.
Yeah. Oh, they're totally wise to the game. So I think that we've lost Africa, and for countries like France, who were so heavily dependent on those resources, they're in for a rough time moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, France's nuclear industry assumed those what was it? They were paying like 1% of the value of the uranium.
Yeah,
I can see why France was able to go all nuclear. So yeah, I'd say that's a good one. Traore is definitely a badass. Everybody knows him. He's popular here out in the West. So most of my family cares about politics. Like they're really deep into politics, but not my mom at all. My mom is just like she's out to lunch when it comes to politics, right? And she's heard of this guy. Like, whoa. Oh, yeah? She didn't know his name, but she saw his face. She's like, oh, I've seen this guy around. He's a handsome black man. That's my mom saying that. I'm like, oh, interesting. My mom's like really Russian. Black people were not often, you didn't often see black people in the Soviet Union. The way she explained it was like, listen, if there was a black person walking down the street, everybody stopped and stared. They're like, oh my God. It was like really, really rare. So it was like, it's like culturally, he knows how to come across, and it doesn't have that feeling of like, oh, it's all African stuff that you don't understand. No, he's personable even to people that have no idea what politics are. He has that charisma. He exudes it. People can feel that charisma. So yeah, this guy's definitely special dude. He's definitely one of a kind. I think that he definitely deserves to be on that list.
Yeah, so we'll see if he survives, but so far so good. In Burkina Faso as well as some other countries in Africa.
Right. Oh, it's not all good, smooth sailing, of course. Right.
Right. Yeah. But, like I said, Africa, ever since I've been alive anyway, has always been sort of seen as this sort of dependent, and it's high time that they break away from that and say, no, we're a resource-rich continent. We've got a young population. And we're ready to grow. And now
this guy definitely shows that ambition. Yeah, that African ambition that we don't associate ambition with Africa, but this guy is ambitious.
Yeah, they have options now, right? That they didn't before.
Yeah, this guy's a certified badass for sure.
Yeah, so he was number 1 on my list. Next, I said President Xi. And the reason I'm putting Xi on the list is because, and we've talked about this before, he's really the one driving the multipolar world. He's the one who's driving BRICS through the Belt and Road Initiative and other initiatives and other forums. And I think that, well, a couple things. Back in, I guess it was early 2024, when he met with Putin in Moscow, and remember he said that they were going to change the world?
Yeah.
Well, a year later, they sure did. And the thing about Xi was when they met several months back at the SCO, and Putin and Modi and Xi was there. That to me, and I said it at the time, that's kind of like the Global South coming out party. Because basically, if you listen to what Xi said at the time, he basically said, the world is changing. It's changing fast, and it's changing now. And
he had that prophetic grand vision type of language.
He did. And he was also firm with that vision. right?
Hmm.
Like, and the Chinese haven't been backing down from the Americans ever since, right? And I don't think they ever will. I think China realizes that they hold all the cards now, and she is the one driving that. So I think that
Yeah,
you know
China
she's
has got their feet under them, and she's
yep,
actually making moves.
yeah. And you just look at it, you know, people now are they concern themselves where President Xi is going to be, right? It
Hmm.
used to be that the American president was the important one.
The only
Uh,
important one.
yeah, and that's not true anymore, and it hasn't been true for a long time, uh, probably since Obama. But now it's more prominent. Like I think it's to the point now where the majority of the world are looking at President Xi and saying, "Okay, where China goes, so too goes the world." And
Hmm.
that's a
It,
fundamental
and it
shift.
seems like he's just kind of like him personally. He's just moving on. He's just doing his thing. He's just slowly building this thing up from the Belt and
Yep.
Road Initiative to all of the inroads that are made in Africa to the way that they've managed India, the Ukraine war. This guy's definitely a master strategist. Over the
Yeah.
decades, he's changed China for sure,
And
and
you
he
never hear
deserves that
from them.
respect.
You never
Yeah,
hear from them,
yeah,
right?
he's very,
Like,
very quiet, very influential dude.
yeah, like Trump is always running his mouth. Starmer and Macron, like they never met a microphone they didn't love. Uh, but this guy, he's off doing his thing, very kind of low key. Makes the odd speech, as most world leaders do, but he's just getting it all done in the background.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I don't really watch Chinese media like this, but Vladimir Putin makes a lot of public appearances, and he'll take questions from the public for hours. And I don't know. I've never seen that with Xi. Like
yeah,
Xi lets the loud stuff be done by other people, and he's just in the background, just does
yeah,
what needs to be done.
yeah, that's right. So
So yeah, Xi Jinping is a scary dude. I'll tell you what, the intimidating guy, right? It's the quiet ones that are like, ooh,
all right, next.
ooh,
I
did not
am
see this coming.
saying, still, if you guys recall, if you saw our show, maybe about a month or so ago, Bradley and I were talking about the price of silver. And I gave you an update at the time about why the price of silver was going to go up and why it was only going to continue to go up. Now, and quite frankly, it's because the Western banks have been manipulating the price of silver for decades,
Yeah,
and now that game is coming to an end because they simply just don't have the inventories anymore. So, as you can see from the chart, what silver has done has been 146% growth year to date, uh, and it's skyrocketed since we last talked about it. So, not to pat myself on the back, but I'm patting myself on the back.
no, that's a
Um,
well-deserved pat on the back because you were predicting the silver rise before it happened. You were
yes,
saying there's no way it's not going to happen, and this was the gold rise was already going on, but
yep.
silver somehow mysteriously was more or less calm. And look at this chart. That is not calm. That is
Yeah.
line go
Well,
up.
and gold gets all of the press. But it's not just gold that's skyrocketing. It's silver, it's copper, it's platinum, it's palladium, like all of these base metals. And if you recall when we were talking about the show, what I said was all these central banks and all these governments are stockpiling their gold, silver, any sort of metals. And China in particular, what they plan on doing is opening up commodities exchange. They've already started it in Shanghai and Hong
Man,
Kong,
the UK
and the
is so
idea
fucked.
totally fucked. So the idea will be that the LBMA and the COMEX, it'll be a competitor slash replacement for those markets, and I think you'll see that. I think you'll see Shanghai being the dominant market for all commodities within the next 10 years.
Yeah, all of these moves that we seem to be trying to make behind the scenes to hamper the growth of China, it just continuously, we're not even shooting ourselves in the foot. We're like stabbing ourselves in the gut, like continuously.
Yep.
So, and what's interesting about this rising commodity prices, like as you were mentioning, it's not just silver. So, I have relatives who work in the silicone industry, in the memory business, creating things like RAM. And recently, another thing that shot up in price was memory prices. Computer memory prices went up double in a short amount of time. It was almost like if you had bought it a week before it skyrocketed in price, it might have been the best investment you've ever made. You could resell it literally for like, twice as much. So then I was asking, like, what's up with this, right? Because there's company Micron is leaving the memory industry, the consumer memory industry. Like they have this Crucial was their brand of memory. So Micron is one of the three memory manufacturers in the world. They have their own house brand called Crucial. They shut it down. It was considered a highly anti-consumer move because Americans have been footing the bill for Micron's tax breaks, and especially Idaho. Well, for decades, when Micron was having extreme financial difficulties, they were constantly being propped up by who? It was our taxpayer dollars, right? And now they're shutting down their consumer facing business. And what I was told is that it's not about that. It's about materials. It's that we need this memory for AI. Everybody's all of a sudden paranoid about it, and it's the materials that people don't know how they're going to be available, how long they're going to be available, what the price is going to be. So yeah, you can see this silver and gold. Okay, those ones are a little bit flashier, but it's a lot of other stuff for our memory to go up in price like that, and not because
anything really is going to go up, because these are all in, like, gold is there's not a whole lot of use for gold outside of making jewelry and storing in vaults. But silver, as I mentioned when we talked about it, it's got all sorts of industrial uses. So does copper, right? And so does platinum, and so on and so forth. And they're all at, copper's at an all-time high right now. Silver's at an all-time high. Gold's at an all-time high. Like basically anything that is resource related are nearing or approaching all-time highs, because people have figured out the paper market game, and they realize that holding paper promissory notes on metals is like wiping your ass with it. So they want
a bird in the bag is worth two in the bush, is what they learned.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't see that chart going down. It'll go, obviously there are price fluctuations, but
yeah.
The idea,
the trend is going to go in one direction, and the reason why is exactly what we're talking about. The stuff, the money is the stuff is the wealth. The money is the game that society plays, where we say, well, this is how much stuff I'm worth. But if all of a sudden overnight you're not, you still need the stuff. So yeah, silver investors, you guys, I mean, I'd say, are they on the nice list? They already got their reward.
And honestly, I was going to put them on the naughty list because of that very.
For getting away with it.
You silver bastards! You've made too much money this year. But yeah,
no, but they were smart.
Put them on the nice list instead.
Yeah, no, they were smart.
They're getting rewarded, so they deserve to have something nice in their stockings.
There you go. All right, silver investors.
Next, I put Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the list. And the reason I put Modi on the list are for several reasons. Number one, as you can see, India is growing gangbusters, and they have been. But more importantly, the reason I put Modi on the list is I don't think he gets enough credit for BRICS, for the Global South movement. and for where we're at right now in 2025. And the reason I'm saying that is if we go back to February 2022, the whole NATO plan was take Russia from SWIFT and their economy is going to collapse. And, China might support them. But other than that, we've got the rest of these countries. They'll go along with whatever we're doing. And, as we know, the world didn't. And I think that has a lot to do with Modi and India, because I think that the Americans, for some bizarre reason, they thought that India would be in their back pocket and do whatever they wanted just because. And the only reason I think that they thought this is the level of strategic thinking that's going on at the Department of State. I think that they said, well, India is a democracy, so all of these
Oh
quote
my
unquote,
gosh.
and I've heard this argument, right? India is a democracy and they are quote unquote like-minded country. Right? And they couldn't be anything further from the truth, other than the
Yeah.
fact that they're a democracy. India and the United States are like night and day, right? But I honestly believe that they thought that India would toe the line. And when India didn't, that created, well, the whole house of cards collapsed then. As soon as it was clear that India wasn't going to be on board with the sanctions game, everything collapsed because they needed a big player like India to, number one, be part of that because they're a big player. And
Yeah.
more importantly, all the other countries of the global south, they're looking to countries like India and they're saying, well, shit, if India's not doing it, why would we?
What
So
year was that when they had Modi lead the yoga session in New York? Was that 23?
23, I think. Yeah.
So I think that they were courting him since then. Since then, they were like, "Hey, not only are you going to lead this yoga session, right, but you're also being treated with like some kind of respect." Which it seems like this guy just basically pulled an Erdogan. He's like, "Yeah, man, I can both sides this because I'm playing realpolitik. I care about India, care about our place in the world, and yeah, I'll take my wins where I can get them." And when we try to pressure them over Russia, it didn't work, right? So, and I think the Russians are too smart to try to pressure them over, abandoning their realpolitik approach on the world stage. So, yeah, Modi has been. I mean, I don't know if it's specifically Modi. I'm a little bit sketched out of him. I think it's him and his administration, like him and his group,
Sure.
his people, are the ones that have a level head and they're plowing through. Yeah, much like they're not in the same position as China or Russia, but they're threading that thread, and the numbers don't lie. From the 10th to the 5th economy. I mean, I'm sure that we had something to do with that, and that was part of us trying to, entice and seduce India to be like, hey, we're going to we're going to be favorable to you in trade negotiations or something like this. Well, you know what? If that was the case, Modi took it, said, thank you very much, and I'm going to continue to look after my country, much like Nicolas Maduro, much like Xi Jinping, right? So yeah, I could see that. And he's super popular. That's the thing. Modi's really popular worldwide. He's like one of the most popular leaders, which interesting.
Yeah, so I think that like I said, the reason I put him on the list is because the fact that India didn't play ball, I think in the future, like the truth is always going to come out. And eventually we're going to hear about all the
Nadia, you should lower your
scheming.
camera a little bit because when you talk, you keep doing this.
Oh, I
And
can't.
you're showing your hat.
Oh,
Not your
I
face.
didn't even know I was on camera. No, eventually we're going to see all the scheming and all the, coercion that went on behind the scenes, the geopolitical scenes, to get him to break. And the fact that he didn't, we'd be in a much different world now if India joined the side of the West. And the
Yeah.
fact that they didn't is why we're here now, and that's why he's on the list.
India needs India. Ukraine needs artillery. I bet India could have supplied them with a shit ton of artillery. I bet they could have.
Yeah.
I bet they could have supplied them with a shit ton of all sorts of different stuff, but we don't see, vehicles of armored vehicles of Indian production getting blown up, right? Like we see American and French vehicles and British vehicles. So yeah, I think that we thought that, like you said, we thought that we had him in our back pocket, that we would be able to handle, that we had a handle on him. And Modi is just like, yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm just, I am the leader of my country, and I care about what's good for my country, good for him, and for himself, of course.
Alrighty, and last on my list of nice. Ta-da! Okay, so we had one duplicate. You and I both made it. I think we already talked about Candace and why we love her. The other reason I love her is because the pictures she puts up on her X account are fantastic. So here's just a couple that I use a lot of Brigitte.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I think we've already covered her off. That's my nice list, sir.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm kind of surprised we only have one that was the same, but you know what? That's a good list. So it shows. All right, now my naughty list. Now this one was harder to do for the reason I said that nice list was hard to do. Nice list was hard to do for the reason that I was trying to find who is deserving of the nice. But for the naughty list was hard to do because it's hard to boil down because so many people have been really shitty this year and deserve nothing but coal in their stockings. And I mean, it was hard to choose who I would be mad at this year. So I decided that I'm going to start with Lindsey Graham. Now, our favorite Lindsey Graham. Now, he has been very naughty this year. Lindsey Graham has been doing nothing but trying to unwind World War III. That's what he's been trying to do. He listened to any time that he speaks, it's all Putin, pressure on Putin, it's this obsession. He won't let go. And that his influence in the background has been negative. Like, for example, the fact that Lindsey Graham helped influence Trump originally for abandoning the peace deal that was hashed out in Alaska, the tentative peace deal. So Lindsey Graham has been literally the opposite of somebody like Steve Witkoff. He's been doing everything in his power to continue the war, continue to escalate World War III, and says openly that why aren't Ukrainians mobilizing their 18-year-olds? They got a lot of 18-year-olds. Like, send more of them to death. I don't know what could be more deserving of coal in your stocking at the very least than that. So much in the similar vein to Lindsey Graham. I think that one is, there's not much to say. We all know what a piece of shit he is. Now, much in the similar vein to Lindsey Graham, I have the next person on my list. Hold up, let me share the screen so that I could. The next person now, I've had.
Next year, we should probably just make Lindsey Graham a permanent member of the naughty list, and we should probably create a Lindsey Graham Memorial Award for the shittiest person on the planet. So yeah, we should probably do that for next year.
If you get the Lindsey Graham Award, I can see that. Lindsey Graham Award, you've been the biggest piece of shit. But okay, after this advertisement is over, as you guys can already see, I'm going to be talking about Jack Keane next. Now, Jack Keane has been doing the same shit as Lindsey Graham. But, here we go. We can hear he's even worse because he should know better. Like, Lindsey Graham served in the army as like I don't remember what he was doing, some like logistics shit. Like he was
a lawyer.
A lawyer.
He was a lawyer.
Right. So Jack Keane supposedly, has an actual military education and stuff like this. That doesn't matter. This guy is ready and willing to speak the biggest nonsense, and he does not stop. And one thing that he always does, as you could tell, he never stops playing Trump's ego. He's always doing this thing where, like, yeah, Trump, great. And then he goes back to the point that he's always going to try to make, which we can already predict why he's in the naughty list. This point is More war, escalate. So here we go. His is when was this? December 21st, only a couple days ago.
There's no peace deal that Ukraine, there is no peace deal unless Ukraine agrees to it. But there's also no peace deal unless Russia agrees to it. We are just trying to find whether there's common ground that we can make happen. And maybe that's not possible. Maybe it is. Maybe that's not possible right now.
Then Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the Trump administration's efforts to secure a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law,
looks like she just rolled out of bed.
Meeting with the head of Russia's
she always does.
Fund in Miami.
Oh, okay.
To continue discussions over ending the war in Eastern Europe. Joining me now is Fox News senior strategic analyst, retired four-star General Jack Keane. General, great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, delighted to be here, Maria.
I want to get your analysis on this latest peace deal from President Trump. There is complaining because Putin will not give up any territory. He does not want to agree to some of these terms in the peace deal, and Zelensky doesn't want Putin to have any of that territory. So how is this war going to end if Zelensky does not want Putin to take any more territory and Putin is not budging?
Well, these peace talks, you got to give the president and his team a lot of credit here.
Always
patience, number one, and persistence in trying to pursue a permanent peace deal here. This has been going on for a number of weeks.
Yeah.
And, all sides talk about it being constructive. That's diplomatic speak for the fact that, yes, but there's issues that need to be resolved. And that's kind of where we are. There's three parts that are taking place here. One is the 20-point plan. And the issue in the 20-point plan is, as you mentioned, it's land and territory. Russia wants some territory they have not been able to take in 11 years and not been able to take in the last 2 years, although they have tried quite earnestly to do so.
Just real quickly, admitting that the war has been going on for 11 years.
Ukraine doesn't want to give up that territory. And if there is an agreement where Ukraine gives up some territory or Russia gives up some territory, then you come to the second part, which is security guarantees. Comprehensive security guarantees have been developed. The United States has had a part of that. The Ukrainians have had a part in it, and the Europeans. And what am I talking about here? Is the United States command and control of a multinational force that has an air, land, and sea component to it, with security forces obviously on the ground inside Ukraine, air power overhead, and also ships in the Black Sea that are making certain that there's no incursion.
That's his advice. This is the reason why you're on the naughty list. He even looks like he's on the naughty list. It looks like some kind of goblin gremlin dude.
He looks like a ghoul for sure.
Yeah.
This is to enforce a peace deal, and Ukrainians need that to deter Russia from reattacking. And then the third thing is a reconstruction and recovery of Ukraine itself. So it's essentially an economic peace. All of those have issues associated with them, Maria, and it remains to be seen. Two presidents have spoken this weekend. Putin, in his press conference annual, pretty much the same as he's always said. He really does want Ukraine. He wants them to demilitarize. He doesn't want any foreign troops.
He really does want Ukraine. He wants them to demilitarize. Wait, if he has Ukraine, why would he want them to demilitarize? That's a contradiction.
And clearly, his objective has not changed, and that is to topple the government in Ukraine and put in a stooge government like he used to have many, many years ago. Zelensky, however, made a statement saying he's willing to go to an elections if there is a ceasefire. He wants the people who have been displaced to be able to vote in that
elections if there's a ceasefire.
Election inside Ukraine. There's almost 4 million of them. And he wants to put together an infrastructure for the 4 to 6 million of Ukrainians who are outside the country.
Now, there are about 10 million Ukrainians in Russia. Notice, so 46 million Ukrainians. So the Ukrainians that are outside of the country, but not in Russia.
So they can vote. And also he wants his military to be able to vote. Obviously, you have to have a ceasefire to do all of that. That's quite a contrast from where Putin is. What does that say to us? Zelensky does want peace. The United States does want peace. I think it remains to be seen where Putin is on this, frankly.
Well, it's a great point that you mentioned in terms of these elections that should happen. But Ukraine said it's ready for elections. Zelensky said after President Trump repeated claims that Kyiv was using war to avoid holding elections. How are you going to have an election, though, if you don't know if it's going to be safe? I mean, Zelensky said,
we did in the Civil War. The Russians did it.
Ready for elections if partners guarantee security. Can that happen?
Well, if we got a ceasefire and we have security guarantees in place, then yes, it can happen. Obviously, you can't do it during conflict itself. I mean, the soldiers have a right to vote, and the people are displaced, and people in the contested area.
What do you mean? Obviously, you can't do it while there's a war going on. Yeah, you can.
They're certainly not going out and risk their lives to vote. That's just the reality of it. So that has never been realistic, that we'll have the elections, while the war is going on and there's martial law declared. But this is a major step forward that Zelensky has taken, and I think
Didn't
it
Putin
demonstrates
make an offer
that he and his people truly want peace, but they don't want it on Russian terms.
There you go.
On terms that are fair to
Putin
both.
said, "Yeah, we'd actually stop the shelling for elections, provided you let ethnic Russians vote in the elections." Right, ethnic Russian Ukrainians, as long as they can vote in it, yeah, we'll stop it. But I don't think they ever got a response to that, did they not?
So, well, the Ukrainians, they want a ceasefire to do the elections. That's what they want. So they're still going after that ceasefire, which is a no-go. It's a non-starter. Look, they're deceiving their audience. They're making it seem like it's reasonable. Well, I mean, obviously, everybody knows, we all agree that you can't have elections without a ceasefire. The Russians don't agree. And it turns out that the Russians think matters in this situation.
My understanding was Putin said, we'd have a temporary ceasefire to allow for the election, as long as ethnic Russian Ukrainians are allowed to vote in the election as well, right? And so that's a ceasefire. It's temporary ceasefire to do the election. So whatever this guy's talking about is not what I heard Putin say with his own lips. So, okay.
They mean something else by
He's
ceasefire.
a propagandist.
By ceasefire, he means we get our thing, you guys get your thing. He doesn't mean, okay, we throw the dice, we see where they land, because he knows it might not come out the way that he would like, right? So that's not what he means by ceasefire. And we've heard him say this before over the last year, right? That listen, if we can get a ceasefire, we'll stop the war. We'll put troops on the ground. Like he was saying that this is the plan. The ceasefire, if we could just achieve the ceasefire, right? So Putin's thing, we're like, okay, well, we'll allow for the voting to be done. For Jackie, that is ruining the point. No. The important part is the ceasefire first. Freeze where it's at. Do the territorial swaps where they're at. Maybe the Russians can get the Donbass if they return Zaporozhye, and then they have this dual nuclear power plant stuff, right? So like he takes our unreasonable and maximalist position and tries to spin it like it's common sense and obvious. So thereby continuing to brainwash the boomers that do watch Fox News, not out of irony, into thinking that, we're trying to be as reasonable as we can, bending over backwards to accommodate both sides,
Both sides.
Yeah, and you make a great point in terms of the potential for a stooge election, a stooge government that is handpicked by Russia.
But there's a stooge government there now. So it's okay if it's our stooge government, but not okay if it's their stooge government.
Russia to run Ukraine. And that sort of sounds like what China tries to do in Taiwan and elsewhere, but they were not successful last time around in Taiwan. General, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for your analysis this morning, sir.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Maria.
Okay. So, I mean,
it seems merry. My God, buddy, smile a little bit. Just a little crack.
It's hard
just
to
a little
smile
Mona Lisa smile.
Your bullshit is being absolutely uncovered in front of everybody. So the third person that I have on my list is Keir Starmer. Now, unlike Liz Truss, Keir Starmer, who's also seems to be is in some hot water and might not be prime minister for much longer. He lasted much longer because he was part of the deep state. Liz Truss was horrified to find out that she was absolutely hamstrung by the deep state. Keir Starmer, he was much more accepted by those people, by those folks. But that does not mean that his position is not tenuous. So Keir Starmer admitted that speculation he could be ousted from his job as prime minister is, quote, pretty rife at the moment, in an extraordinarily candid moment. The PM was grilled by MPs on the liaison committee on Monday about the continuous leaks that have come from within his government. The chair of the Standards Committee, Tory MP Alberto Costa, asked the prime minister about the ministerial code of conduct, noting that questions about leadership are meant to be handled by Labour staff, not governmental employees. The Tory MP said, "Can you confirm that Labour Party leadership speculation is a purely party political matter? It comes after Health Secretary Wes Streeting was publicly accused by Starmer's allies of being on maneuver for the top job last month." Starmer replied, "No, I'm not sure I can. It seems to be pretty rife." So there you go. That's the quote, right? However, he added, "In terms of the code, I can say hand on heart that none of it comes from me or is encouraged by me." Oh, that's, if Keir Starmer says, "Swear to God, cross my heart, hope to die," then, you should just believe it. However, he added, in terms of the code, I can say, he said once again that he thinks the briefings against cabinet ministers are completely unacceptable and that he has urged both his staff and his senior ministers to stop. Although he has only been in post for 18 months, Starmer's leadership is in question after the party's astonishing nosedive in the polls. It's nothing astonishing. Astonishing implies that it's like unbelievable. It's believable. People see through your BS, So Keir Starmer was the replacement for Liz Truss. They needed somebody that was going to play ball. This alone shows you the difference.
Wasn't it? Just to cut you off for a sec, sorry. Wasn't it that little Indian dude next? It was Truss, little Indian dude, and then Starmer.
What little Indian dude?
Little Indian dude. He was like something out of a Hasbro toy box.
Let's find it.
Sunak, yeah. Right.
There was Rishi Sunak. Okay,
yeah, I totally forgot about him.
How could I forget about him? He was very forgettable, I guess. So yeah, so first for damage control, they try to pull Rishi Sunak, and he didn't last that long. They put Starmer in. Starmer is not lasting that long either. He's outlasted them though. But yeah, I completely forgot about Rishi. How forgettable do you have to be? So he's just basically a they need, like I said, they needed to do damage control. They put him in there. They replaced him with Starmer, and Starmer is also failing in the damage control. The people aren't buying the bullshit. I don't think if you put a different face on it, it's going to work. This is not Obama dates. I mean, maybe it is in the UK. So Keir Starmer is on my naughty list, and I hope for Christmas he gets a gigantic "you're fired" letter in his stocking, because that would be the most deserving present for one such.
You totally glossed over those Ukrainian prostitutes who were fucking him in the ass. Who got arrested,
or his punch, right? Listen, for being the male figurehead of your country. Well, I guess that's probably the king. Whatever. For being the male leader of your country, him trying to punch that punching bag. Yeah, I don't know how everybody in the UK was not embarrassed.
Well, I agree with you. He's not long for this world, because, like, I keep going back to that whole rent boy scandal about the 4, I think it's up to now, who got charged with burning his shit down. They still have to go to trial. They all pled not guilty. So how does he get around that? Like, eventually the story's going to come out about how they knew where he lived and how and why they actually did what they did. And I think it's pretty clear they were trying to extort him for money, no doubt. He probably said no, and they said, "Okay, we'll burn down your shit to show you that we're serious." I think it's something like that. But yeah, I don't think he's long for this world, because if they go to trial, well, that's when the everything comes out. Like, you haven't heard anything about that since those guys got arrested.
Yeah, it was just a blip, nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay, so Starmer, and then, oh my god, dude, my cat is pressing buttons. You need to stop doing this, bro. Okay, Now, who else do I have on here? Now, I think that it would be malpractice. I'm not going to say journalistic malpractice, but let's say podcast malpractice not to put Netanyahu on that list. So Netanyahu, the psychopath who is in the middle of engaging in genociding an entire population of people in order to try to steal their land. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, this is his full text of Prime Minister. Okay, but we're not going to read the full text. I did not intend to come here this year. My country is at war, fighting for its life. Oh yeah, that's right. Israel is fighting for its life while starving. I think the Palestinians are actually the ones fighting for their lives, being bombed and being starved to death. But after I heard the lies and slanders leveled at my country by many of the speakers at this podium, I decided to come here and set the record straight. I decided to come here to speak for my people. Your people hate you. You're unpopular. To speak for my country. The truth, here's the truth. Israel seeks peace. Nanya, I can't believe this. We haven't seen it this whole time. It turns out Israel was not the one that started the war. This whole time, Israel is trying to seek peace. Israel yearns for peace. Israel has made peace and will make peace again. Oh my goodness, what a peaceful country. I wonder what's going on in the Middle East then. Yet we face savage enemies who seek our annihilation, and we must defend ourselves against them. These savage murderers, he's not referring to himself in the IDF, by the way, here. I know that's what you naturally think when you read about the savage murderers in Palestine. Our enemies seek not only to destroy us, but they seek to destroy our common civilization and return all of us to a dark age of tyranny and terror. That's right. Israel is like Ukraine. They're holding back the floodgates of this time it's not the Mongol hordes, it's the Arab hordes, the Muslim hordes, the Ottoman hordes. They're holding him back. And, if it wasn't for Israel, you'd all be screwed. There would be massive immigration crisis of people from the Middle East in your cities, like in the UK and in France. That's what he's saying. So yeah, you better continue to support me. Otherwise, you're going to have this migration problem. When I spoke here last year, I said that we faced the same timeless choice that Moses put before the people of Israel thousands of years ago. As we were about to enter the promised land, Moses told us that our actions would determine whether we bequeath to future generations a blessing or a curse. And that is the choice we face today: the curse of Iran's unremitting aggression, or the blessing of a historic reconciliation between Arab and Jew. In the days that followed that speech, the blessing I spoke of came into sharper focus. A normalization deal between, so they're trying to get on the good side of Saudi Arabia and all this stuff. War on 7 fronts. Ladies and gentlemen, the curse of October 7th began when Hamas invaded Israel from Gaza. It was a prison break, dumbass. But it didn't end there. Israel was soon forced to defend itself on 6 more war fronts organized by Iran. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that. Israel is currently fighting 6 wars. I could have sworn they were just busy pummeling a defenseless population into the ground in order to steal their prime real estate. Fueled by Iran, Palestinian terrorists in Judea and Samaria perpetrated scores of attacks there and throughout Israel. And last April, for the first time ever, Iran directly attacked Israel from its own territory. Let's walk back. Why did that happen? Because you bombed their frickin' embassy. And you bombed them, and you bombed Iran. For the first time ever. Iran has been a really naughty boy. I think. Can I
put women's football on my naughty list?
This?
Yeah.
Is that a real thing? Okay.
I don't know, but I think I need to revise my list and put that girl on it. Sorry, continue talking about what a piece of shit this guy is.
What a piece of shit Benjamin Netanyahu is there. We all need a sanity break from thinking about this motherfucker. Ladies and gentlemen, as Israel defends itself against Iran in the 7-front war, the line separating the blessing and the curse could not be more clear. This is the map I presented here last year. It's a map of a blessing. It shows Israel and its Arab partners forming a land bridge connecting Asia and Europe between the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. Across this bridge, we will lay rail lines, energy pipelines, and fiber optic cables, and this will serve the betterment of 2 billion people. No, okay. So anyway, second map. It's a curse. The map of an arc of terror that Iran has created and imposed from the Indian Ocean to the Mediterranean. Iran's malignant arc has shut down international waterways. So anyway, Bibi Netanyahu is unapologetic, and he's continuing to blame everybody except for himself for the disaster that's going on. And this is exactly what we would expect from a psychopath. Hamas has to go. What about the IDF has to go from Palestinian land? Yeah, so one-siding it, and honestly, this person is got to be the biggest piece of shit this year. I mean, not just this year, last year too, right? But this year, it continues to be the biggest piece of shit.
He is the Lindsey Graham Lifetime Achievement winner.
You know what? He definitely deserves the Lindsey Graham Lifetime Achievement Award. Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and he continues to do this thing where he tries to put it into this Stark thing where it's like, the civilized world versus the barbarians kind of sort of stuff, right? So he's doing this in the middle of committing this genocide, this barbarous genocide. So the barbarians, we all know who they are. And the fact that this just gets swept under the rug and our media just continuously plays along with him, and he gets this kind of massive platform. Where is this kind of massive platform for Hamas? Hamas are just considered terrorists. Listen, Israel is the terrorist state. If you were killing women and children for a political or religious reason, that's called terrorism. If that's terrorism sanctioned by the Israeli state, you are a terrorist state. So, completely. And what does Benjamin Netanyahu do? Like, his defense is like complete BS, deflect, attack, and then try to reframe. So Benjamin Netanyahu, crazy psychopath that he is, we will win because we don't have a choice. Israel will win this battle. The great mighty IDF is going to win a battle against women and children. Okay. Well, I mean, so far you guys have been having a hell of a time at it. Yeah, and I'm going to say that he's got to be, he should have been number one. He's my number one biggest piece of shit. Now, the last on my list is I'm going to put Donald Trump on the naughty list. Why does Donald Trump get to go to the naughty list? Like, what's going on here with the Donald Trump naughty list? Well, he broke his promises. You were naughty. You lied. You lied to everybody. You broke your promises. You said you gave us a slew of promises, and you've shown that you're a spineless coward with that. Well, I don't know if it's true, but everybody always says it, and it seems like there's some truth to it, that buys whatever is sold to him by the last person to speak on the subject to you. We go from a potential peace deal in Alaska to seemingly like in no time to like, no, it's ceasefire. And in fact, Ukraine can win against Russia. Back to Donald Trump talking to the Russians and then trying to go back on the path of peace, right now, trying to do this whole like, oh, I ended 7 wars. So yeah, for being a pathological liar, which I mean, he's been all his life as a narcissist, for breaking his promises to his most loyal followers, and for lying about it, constantly lying about it, not taking accountability, trying to please everybody at the same time, try to both sides it, lie to these people somewhat, try to get everybody on your team. I mean, so I guess the third crime would be for being spineless, for being a spineless coward, not like Maduro, not like Lukashenko, not like Ibrahim Traore. He bags down very easily for somebody who's supposed to be this macho dude. He's on my naughty list. He deserves a lump of coal, massive lump of coal in his stockings. So that is my list.
I thought about putting him on the list, but I didn't, and here's why. And I go back to what I said before he even got elected. And I remember saying to anybody who'd listened to me, and people were saying, oh, Trump, this time he's going to be different.
Yeah.
This time he's going to have the hindsight of his first term and blah, blah, blah. And I said to anybody who would listen to me, no, you don't change human behavior that way. That's not how people are. And I said, we know exactly how Donald Trump is going to govern because we saw it before. And if you think he's going to be any different, he won't be. and that's just proven to be true. Like
and you
he's
furthermore you predicted that he would be
yeah,
on a tight leash as well
yeah, and he'd be
from
on a tight leash. And here we are. Like, so I couldn't put him on the naughty list for being exactly what he is, which to your point is just this really stupid narcissist who doesn't have any real deep thoughts in his head whatsoever.
except
So
for I'm
I
number
can't,
one.
yeah, I can't fault the man for that. You know, you guys voted for it, right? So, but yeah, we shouldn't be shocked of how ineffective he's been.
Yeah, I'm not. You know what? There's a short moment in time where I thought, hey, man, like they tried a gun for him. Maybe there is something can happen, but nope. It just shows that he is that little bitch. So somebody's knocking on my door. I gotta go. Let me try to pause the stream. I think I can pause it. I'll be right back. So basically, my neighbors came over and they gave me presents. I got presents for my neighbors. I didn't get them anything, but cool. I have cool neighbors. Sorry about that. We're going to do your naughty list now. Oh, you're muted.
Okay, there we go. Let me just, I think I shut down my presentation.
I should be on the naughty list. Not having presents for my neighbors. I got to think of something. Maybe I'll give them like some chocolates or some shit. That's Christmassy.
There you go. Alrighty. I shall share this thing. Let me know when you can see it.
It's up.
Okay. So, the naughty list. And moving right along. Sorry.
You have
Number one with a bullet on my list is Bibi Netanyahu. There's nothing else that I can say that you haven't said previously about this bag of dirt. The only thing I could think to add, I fixed his appearance for us. And let's move on. This piece of trash is not worth my breath. And like I said, the truth always comes out.
Yeah.
Number two on my list.
Good one.
Now, I chose Kaya Kallas, but she, like Traore, she's really just a symbol of the EU. Yeah. And I could have picked Ursula von der Leyen. I could have picked Macron or whoever, Merz, but I think she's a good symbol of the idiocy that's going on in the EU right now. Because, like, when you start missing Joseph Borrell, you know that the replacement is incompetent. But she has been horrible in her job as EU foreign minister. And the EU policy towards Ukraine, as we see, at Ukraine and the US for that matter, is just all crumbling. And everybody in the EU.
Every statement she says, it's like she doesn't see any of it.
Yeah, like she just says stuff that's like just patently false and verifiably false. And even when she's not making outlandish false statements, she's just making outlandish regular statements, right?
Yeah.
So
she just demonstrates her idiocy in other ways, even if she's not lying or just demonstrating her understanding of European history. Like, for example, in the last 100 years, nobody's attacked Russia, but Russia's attacked 27 countries, you know, this kind of stuff. And on top of that, her family were apparatchiks, from my understanding, in the Soviet Union. So, like, they were the ones that gave problems to their own population. And now to be so hateful towards Russia, it's like, what are you overcompensating for the fact that you know that your hands are drenched in blood, or the hands of your forefathers are drenched in the blood of your own people, that you try to like pawn off onto the Soviet Union? Yeah, I could see that. It's like it gives you extra incentive to hate and completely rewrite history.
So yeah, I don't know what's I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what's going on in the EU leadership right now. It seems like they're all imploding. It seems like they've got the knives out for each other because they know they're all going down.
Well, it seems like it's one failure after another too. It's like,
yeah, it is. And I think the end is near for a lot of these people, including Mrs. Callas. And the EU, we've talked about it many, many times before about how misguided they are right now with respect to their policy towards Russia, with respect to their policy towards a lot of things.
Towards their own members,
their own people, their own values. Yeah. So it's just coming apart, which is a good segue into number 3.
All right.
The UK. Ooh. Now I could have lumped the UK into the EU, but I didn't. I could have made this Keir Starmer like yourself, but I didn't. But same problems that I see in the EU, I see in the UK, but it's on steroids in the UK. Yeah. The big concern that I have in the UK, more so than the EU, at least right now, is some of the crackdowns that they have on our freedoms, freedom of expression, our privacy, and things like that, I think is pretty shocking. And that's why I put them on a separate slide, because I wanted to specifically talk about some of these things, because for the country of the Magna Carta, I think it's pretty depressing that you've got on average 40 people are being arrested for social media posts in the UK every single day.
About things that directly affect their lives, like migration, like their taxes. This is stuff that directly affects them.
Yeah, or it could be anything, right? Like you hear about all these cases about people being arrested for the strangest things. And or like the shopkeeper who put up his sign, no pickpockets, or not pickpockets, no thieves. And basically the cops paid him a visit and told him to take down the sign because it might offend the thieves. Like, this is what the UK has become. And it really is. It's become a Monty Python skit without money. And it's really sad to see. I was there just in July, and I was shocked at how much it had declined in the several years since I had previously been there. Just everywhere you see it on the streets, there's more people out on the streets. People are angrier. People are more violent, and they're protesting more. Everything looks just run down and dirty. A lot of shops are shut down. It just didn't look good.
You're putting excuse me, and you're putting the post Brexit on there because you're saying that those problems accelerated that much.
Oh, I think that they're trying to figure out what it is and that's why I said that it's an identity crisis, because they moved away from the EU with Brexit, but I don't think that they've really defined for themselves or the rest of the world what that actually means. So I think
they want to get back. That's what it feels like.
Well, I think that's what Starmer wants to do, but I don't think they ever redefined themselves of what a post-Brexit UK was actually stood for and looked like. All I see from the current UK is basically it's the EU. So they haven't changed anything. They haven't changed any of their policies. They haven't changed any of their values. It's all just basically still a carry on of the UK without the benefits of it. So they really need to change that. And maybe Reform will do that once they get in power.
Well, I mean, we can already see from Liz Truss's exasperation of there's nothing I can do except for start a podcast to expose this BS, right?
Yeah, totally. And great tits, by the way. Next. I put Mr. Jolani on the list. So it was about a year ago, actually, a little over a year ago, December 2024, when everything broke out in Syria. And why we thought it was a good idea to put, the founder of ISIS to lead a country, I'll never know. But as we see what's going on there now with some of the minorities and all the violence that's happening and people getting killed and beaten and God knows what else, it looks like it's a real mess in Syria. And we all predicted that. It wasn't hard to predict. I think anybody with a bit of common sense would have seen that this wasn't going to play out well. But of course, you had the propagandists in the West, Melanie Joly in Canada, the foreign minister, and you had Blinken, and you had all these other clowns at the time. I remember talking about how this guy was going to be.
Nice things.
Yeah, he was. Thank God Assad is gone, and he's changed. He's a new man. Look at the suit.
And they strong person in that strong area of the world. Wait, what?
Yeah.
So Assad was the strong person in the strong area of the world, and we called him like an evil dictator terrorist. This guy is not. See, it's how does the saying go? Yeah, but there are bastards. Yeah, as long as it's our bastards. So when Jack Keane goes out there and says Russia wants to put in a obedient, subservient government, right? It's projection. That's what we want to do. Look what we did in Syria.
So I mean, you can take the
obedient, subservient to the Russians. No, he was not. Assad and the Russians had a lot of disagreements about a lot of different stuff. So the Russians were not able to get Assad to cut a deal over Idlib, for example. Assad was like, no, I'm going to, or with the Russians were not able to mediate between the Syrians and the Turks. Assad held his ground there. Same thing with Erdogan, right? So he was not a Russian puppet. This guy is our puppet, for sure.
Yeah.
Look, we tell him, you shave your beard, take off your turban, look presentable, roll over, handshake, here's a snack.
I mean, well, it just proves that what we've always said is Al-Qaeda, CIA creation, ISIS, CIA creation. I think that's all been proven now. This guy is nothing more than a CIA asset. And, you can dress him up in a suit to make him not look like a terrorist. You can change his name so it makes harder for people to find information on him.
Yeah.
But all you need to do is Google Daniel Pearl beheading video, and you'll see what this guy is all about. That's all you need to do. He's a head chopper through and through. And not only does he deserve a lump of coal, he deserves a missile on top of his head. These guys are absolute shit. And, you broke it, you bought it. We created this. So what do you do?
I think we're happy with the chaos right now.
We created it, so I guess we need to live with it.
Yeah.
And Jelani, last thing about Jelani, great tits. And I wouldn't be me if I didn't include this turkey on my list, because now that he's gone, he's out of the news. You don't really hear much about him except for who he's dating or some shit like that.
Yeah, exactly.
The good news is he's gone. The bad news is I don't think we realize the damage that clowns like Justin Trudeau or Olaf Scholz or Emmanuel Macron or Keir Starmer or Joe Biden or Barack Obama, these globalist cocksuckers have ruined the West. Ruined the West. So my hope is that the globalist push and the globalist movement and the World Economic Forum, I'm hopeful that that's all going by the wayside with this new multipolar world that appears to be evolving. But like I said, it's going to take us decades to recover from all of the economic destruction that Justin Trudeau created. He more than doubled the debt in 10 years. And the social change, people are so just confused now about everything that it's really hard to move forward as a society when you're not sure if you're allowed to say somebody's a man or a woman. You know what I mean? Like, we've set ourselves back so far with all this nonsense, and it's going to take a long time just to reprogram people's minds. And that's why I'm putting shitheads like Justin Trudeau on this list,
I think
because
it's not just shithead, dude. You nailed it earlier when you said clown.
Yeah.
Because think about, that's where that trope of the scary clown comes in. It comes from this understanding that these clowns are so scary, what they're capable of doing. It's funny. Yeah, you're a clown. You're a joke of a human being. People laugh at you. If only you knew. But at the same time, he's destroying your families, your lives. Like, these are the scariest clowns, and he is that scary freaking clown.
Well, I keep quoting George Carlin, right? Because George Carlin hit the nail on the head when he said, "It's a big club and you ain't in it." Trudeau's part of the club. It's this globalist club, and they're all members, and you and I are not in the big club. And what we need to do as citizens are call out the people who are in the big club, and we need to fight against the people who are in the big club, or else we won't have much left to hold on to. This is the same bunch who says you'll own everything, or you'll own nothing and be happy. That's what they have for us. They want us to be all serfs beholden to them. So we can't let them. So that's all I have to say about Justin Trudeau. I hope he's happy wherever he is in the world. And I also hope he never comes back to the country.
Right. Well, yeah, he's. I wonder how long his relationship with Katy Perry's going to last. She's going to see that he's a little bitch boy, but or maybe that's the whole point. She's the one that wears the pants. But for our 2 scoops of crazy, so we've done. That's our list. Happy Christmas, everybody. We'd love to know what you think about our lists, and if there was somebody that was more deserving. Because I think
let us know.
Try to get the most deserving people. I'm sure we missed somebody that was obvious. But for 2 scoops of crazy, what have we here? So this is when December 23rd. So okay, December 23rd. So this is today's news. British porn star Bonnie Blue banned from Indonesia for 10 years following police raid. Now, what did Bonnie Blue do to warrant being kicked out of Indonesia for 10 years? British adult content creator Bonnie Blue has been barred from entering Indonesia for 10 years following her deportation order over content deemed a risk to public unrest and alleged violations of the country's strict pornography laws. That's right. She decided to go shoot a porno in a country where porn is illegal. The 26-year-old, whose real name is Tia Bellinger, was detained earlier this month in Bali alongside at least 17 male tourists from Australia and the UK. They were most released after questioning. However, Bellinger was deported from the Southeast Asian country last week. After examining Bellinger's phone, police discovered private video footage. Authorities did not press charges, saying the material was for private documentation, not for public distribution. Okay, so are they going to tell us what she did?
Well, I'm guessing she was deported before Bonnie got to blow. That's what it looks like to me.
Bonnie didn't blow. See, no, I don't know. I think she blew it. I think Bonnie blew it.
Bonnie blew it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
therefore, we impose. Okay. Found that they were entered Indonesia using a visa, arrival for commercial content production that could potentially cause public unrest. Therefore, we impose a 10-year entry ban because these activities are not in line with the government's efforts to maintain Bali's quality tourism image and respect for local cultural values, he said. Police raided a rented studio in Bali on 4th of December, seizing camera equipment. Officers said they had found contraceptives, Viagra pills during the raid, impounded a dark blue pickup truck labeled the Bang Bus. They could name their bus the Bang Bus. That's funny. Bellinger and an associate, 27-year-old Liam Andrew Jackson, were fined 200,000 rupiah, 9 pounds, on 12th of December for traffic violations after driving the vehicle around the island while promoting what police described was explicit content. Bellinger later appeared in Denpasar District Court ahead of her deportation, where she was filmed laughing, interacting with others, sucking on a lollipop. Okay, that's all they're gonna tell us. Bonnie Blue should have been traveling, but instead she was creating content. Okay, there you go. They're telling you kind of what's happening. All right, so she's instead of traveling in the bus as they're driving around, right? She's creating content, and you can imagine what kind of content that must be. That includes 17 male tourists. Somewhere else I read ages between 18 to 40 in Australia.
I'm guessing Bonnie Blue blew a whole lot of guys.
Yes, well, on the blow bus? No, on the bang bus.
The bang bus. Bonnie
Yeah,
Blue
she
blew.
blew the bang bus until the bus did get banged.
Try saying that 5 times. Bonnie Blue blew the bang bus. Bonnie Blue blew the bang bus. Bonnie Blue blew the bang bus.
Bonnie Blue blew the bang bus.
Bonnie Blue blew the bang
anyway,
bus.
so there's a it would have been funny if it was called the blow bus, but okay. Well, we don't know. Maybe she was doing more than just blowing them. So, they were probably banging on this bus. So I'm guessing there's probably no seatbelts involved. I mean, it's a bus. Buses don't always have seatbelts. Authorities said Billinger had driven the truck without valid registration documents before using it to promote her videos. While in Bali, Bonnie Blue should have been trapped. Okay, we already read that. They will be blacklisted from entering Indonesia for at least 10 years, which could be extended. Billinger reportedly told the court she was not driving the vehicle and was instead a passenger. Indonesia is a Muslim-majority country with strict morality laws on the offense. Billinger was initially investigated for can carry penalties for up to 15 years in prison and fines up to 270,000 pounds. So originally when I was reading this story, I was like, that's what it looked like. They were saying that you could be in prison for 15 years and pay this $270,000 fine. I'm so surprised that she only paid like a $9 or a £9 fine. She is known for her controversial online stunts and has faced repeated public and media backlash over explicit content involving young men and remarks critics say promote misogyny. So yeah, this bitch has been in the news before. She went to some university campus and tried to bang 100 college student males. So she's got this history of doing like exhibitionist, I guess you would call that material, or I don't know if that'd be considered exhibitionist, but she's got this history of this kind of behavior. And this article was just really tame. It didn't give us a lot of details, but basically, from what I read, she decided to go to this Indonesian country and try to film porno on the bang bus while they were driving around, and that was super illegal. So unlike the West, where she got away with trying to bang 100 young men, Indonesia arrested her and said, "This shit don't fly."
Well, here's the thing about Bonnie Blue, and I've always said this, and I've been around the block at this point. I think last time I counted, I was up to 60 countries. So, I've been to a lot of different countries, a lot of different laws, a lot of different customs. And I've always said this: if you're traveling to somebody else's country, you're a guest in that country. You have to adhere to the laws and the customs that are present in that country. Otherwise, you might have a problem. This is just common courtesy that a guest to somebody else's country should afford to that country, right? So, she should have known that this was illegal, and if she didn't, she's an idiot, right? You don't.
She's trying to get that content. She's a content creator, dude. And look, this is what I'm talking about when I say she's been known to do this stuff before. Bonnie Blue shows off horrific injuries after sleeping with 1,000 men in a day. This is the kind of shit this bitch pulls. So she's one of a kind. She's like a super slut.
Can you imagine her poor parents? Her poor parents must be like, what the hell did we do here? Where did we go wrong with this skeet?
Yeah, you know what? That's a good question. Let me think about this. Not only is your daughter a porn star, but she's out there and she's making the headlines.
Adult performer Bonnie Blue has opened up. Yeah, I'll bet she has.
Again and again for many, many men. Participants were required to use protection as part of the stunt, inducing infection risk. Oh my God. I don't know, man. But anyway,
I go back to if she's doing this stuff and it's legal, more power to her. Porn is porn; it's a product, it's a commodity that sells.
And I mean, there's all kinds of people in the world. I don't want to be the guy that's judging you for being, there's some people that are born and they want to go skydiving, and they don't get an adrenaline pump unless they're going skydiving, and I'm not those people. I would be like, no, I'm not interested. 0%.
Yeah, no, I'm not judging her at all. I got lots of skeletons in my closet, right? I'm just saying that the only thing I'm have a problem with is not the fact that she's off fucking everything and making a living off of it. More power to her. It's the fact that if you're going to go to a country like Indonesia, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the largest Muslim country in the world, use your fucking brain, Bonnie, right? Like, go on your country's website. Look this shit up.
But at this point in time, you can't. That's not even probably use your brain, Bonnie. I'm thinking that she probably has a crew. There's probably film people. There's probably somebody's. And if you already have this bus, you think about this. If you already have this bus, this bang bus, I'm assuming it didn't come from Indonesia. That stuff's illegal there. They must have brought the bank bus with them, right? So here you are. You're going to this. She wasn't even driving it, right? So this is an operation. This is a multi-people operation, and all of them thought this would have been a great publicity stunt.
Yeah, and I'm not blaming her specifically. You're right. I shouldn't blame her specifically. Yeah. I'm blaming whoever produced this thing should have done their homework before they went there, right? And you're right. It probably wasn't her. She was the talent. It was some producer who was, planning all this crap out. So whoever it was, think next time.
Yeah, if you're going to do a stunt like this, dude... Bonnie also disclosed her willingness to face significant health risks, including contracting HIV. HIV is the big one, she declared, and I still choose to do it. I'm happy to risk the things I risk to do. Maybe risk is the word, dude. She really likes that feeling of the risk.
Well, why is that in the article? Like, where did this become? When did this become
this is the article. This is not the article. This is the article about her sleeping with 1,000 dudes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she happy to do with the things that I do. Should they have to wear protection? You can still contract HIV. Anything can happen.
Oh, right? I guess. Anyway, let me roll that one back here, reel it back in. I guess my question is, why is this an article? Why does anybody care what Bonnie Blue does on her Tuesday?
Why does she do what she does? I'm going to guess that you couldn't. It's not like you couldn't have driven your bank bus around wherever you normally drive it around. No, she wanted to get that infamy, that whatever. And the fact that people are reading her name in the headlines again, these are stunts that she's pulled in the past to get her name in the headlines. So this is all part of the plan. And the fact that she didn't get arrested and stuff like that. Hey, you know what? I mean, I bet you probably don't want to go to a prison in Indonesia. I'm gonna guess.
Well, apparently this is news in 2025. I can either read about Bonnie Blue blowing, or apparently we can look at Reba McEntire's 70-year-old bikini body, and that's it. That's where we're right there. It says Reba McEntire bikini pics or whatever it said there, and it's like, how is this news? Like, why are we looking at this? Like,
this is tabloid stuff. This is tabloid stuff, but this is two scoops of crazy, man. I'm just demonstrating the crazy people in this world. There are people out there that are not just voracious sluts, apparently. Like, you hear people talk about this, but there are some truly elite 0.01% of the ultra super sluts that are willing to go out of their way and do crazy things at risk to themselves, their physical health, I'm not going to say mental health. She seems totally fine with what she's doing, but that's the two scoops of crazy that I have prepared. What can I say?
Yeah, but that's kind of weak, like I've seen these gang bang videos before. The women don't have any, like, they're not really doing much. I mean, usually they're just like laying there, and some guy's like plowing her from one end, the other guy's plowing her from the other. She's actually just lying down.
She seems like she is ready, like she's a willing and eager participant. Let's look her up.
No, I'm not saying she's not. I'm not saying she's not. I'm just saying that, like, I don't think her fucking 1,000 guys. Okay, yeah, that's impressive. But what would be more impressive is like John Holmes or Peter North, one of these motherfuckers, fucking 1,000 women in a day. That would be impossible.
Get a male porn star to do it.
Yeah, you couldn't, like, you'd be so drained that your dick would just not work. So show me
Yeah.
that. Like, show me Buddy Blue, who
Buddy Blue.
like fucked 1,000 chicks. Like, that's the one I want to see. It's like, okay, Buddy Blue, how in the hell are you still going after 998 here, and you're still pounding away? I want to see that performance. I want to see Buddy Blue go through 1,000 chicks, and then, like, when he finally comes, it's like he just drowns them all because it's so much. That's the video I want to watch. I don't fuck
It's a
Bonnie
good thing
Blue.
that we're
She's
not
just lying there.
monetized and have no plans to be.
No,
Okay,
she's just lying there. Like, that's not that doesn't impress me, is what I'm saying. That's not going to impress me.
I think
Everybody's
world
done
record.
a gangbang
It's a world
in the
record for
porn
this.
world. Yeah,
As far as
Bonnie
we
Blue,
know.
you're nothing special, is what I'm saying. You're nothing special, and that's why the Indonesians kicked you out. Because
Oh, that's what it is. They're like, you get it out of here. Who even needs this around here?
yeah, where's
Let's
Peter
look for a
North?
reason to get her out of here.
Is Peter North still a thing? He must be about 100 by now. But back when I was a kid, he was like the big porn star.
Yeah, I've definitely, of all male porn star names, I've heard Peter North and James Dean the most. Those are the two that I heard the most. And I know that
You
James
never
Dean.
heard John Holmes? John Holmes is like the legend.
I don't,
John
I'm not-
Holmes? You never heard of John Holmes?
No.
Oh, dude, John Holmes back in the 70s, he was like the guy. He was like bigger than Ron
70s
Jeremy.
porn? Oh, Ron Jeremy's another one that I've heard of. Right.
Yeah, but John Holmes was bigger than Ron Jeremy.
Really?
Yeah, and he died of HIV or AIDS or whatever. Yeah. Because that's how much fucking John Holmes did.
That's so much
He
fun.
was fucking so well. I think he did a lot of gay porn after too. That's probably where he got it. But
Yeah.
bottom line is, the dude, he fucked so much, the HIV just was everywhere. Like, he was just like poisoned with HIV by the end of it. So yeah, John Holmes was the man. I
Look how she
actually
says this.
remember.
Oh, so what?
Yeah.
So, but you're saying he was a gay porn star, or he wasn't just a gay? Okay, whatever. All right. So okay.
No, you got to watch the movie.
There's a
There's a movie
documentary?
called there's a movie called Wonderland, and it's about his life. And he was a porn star, and then he got like heavily into drugs, as you would as a porn star in the 70s.
As one
And then
does.
he ended up robbing people, and people ended up getting killed. And next thing you know, he got kicked out of the porn business, but then he ended up doing gay porn, and I don't know, but yeah, it's something like that from what I recall. Wonderland
Yeah,
was the movie.
It sounds like an animal. Look how she says this, dude. This is hilarious. Look how she phrases this.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely nervous. I wanted to do Bali the previous year.
She wanted to do Bali the previous year. She wanted to do the whole country last
But
year.
I was aware of how strict Bali can be, so I avoided it and went to Fiji instead. This year I went in with more information. I had a lawyer already picked out in case anything went wrong. So I went aware of my risks, but I was happy to take the risk. So I was then, when I was taken to the villa, there was
All right.
And then I went to Samoa, and you see her like just getting plowed by all these big Samoan rugby players, right? It's like,
Well,
gee, I'm sore. I don't know why.
She's got these global ambitions. It seems like she has these global ambitions. She's like, I was going to fuck Molly, but you know what? I decided to fuck Fiji instead. But then after I got a good lawyer, I decided, yeah, I'm going to go back and we're going to do Molly.
Well, good for her. Like if you're
She's
gonna
planned
do it,
out. She's planned it out.
well, if you're gonna do it, and you're just gonna say, listen, I'm just gonna ruin my reputation for the rest of my life. I'll never be able to have children because like they're gonna know that their mom was a whore, so on and so forth. If you've made that plunge already, be the best at it, right? Be the Jenna Jameson.
That's a good point.
You know, like,
if
so
you
good
think
for
it's
Bonnie
worth
Blue.
doing, do it well.
Yeah. Like, she's trying to make a name for herself, and I can't argue that, right? Like, she's out there pumping, fucking and sucking away, just doing God knows what else to who or what. And she just wants to get her name out there in those record books, the 1,000 of the
I would just
campus, or,
say,
you know, Screwed Bally, or whatever the record she's looking for. Like,
when
that
she
stuff
says-
matters.
when she
Like
says
that's
fuck
what
the
gets you
world,
on the Mount Rushmore of
yeah,
porn
the
stars.
Mount Rushmore of
Yeah.
because there have been legendary like
The fuck
very
are we talking
promiscuous
about?
people throughout history, right? Like for example, there was some Roman noblewoman that would sneak out of her house, out of her like castle, her mansion or whatever, and go to like the cheapest brothel in town. Because like so and she was apparently voracious enough to make it to the history books where we know, I don't know her name, but like at some point in time I read about her. So she's definitely trying to reach the top. And when I want to say, yeah, she's trying to make history. And when somebody like Bonnie Blue says, "Fuck the world," it just hits a little different. She's trying to actively do it.
Well, I'm saying like there's tons of pornos out there. Like you can go on whatever it is, Pornhub,
Yeah,
and
all of them.
you can search whatever it is you want. You'll find any type of woman you want. They all look the same, right? So good for her to say, I don't want you when you go into Pornhub. I don't want you searching gang bang midgets. I want you searching Bonnie Blue gang bang midgets because you want to see me, right?
You associate
so
my name with
absolutely,
that.
absolutely.
Good
So
marketing.
good
She's
for
a
her.
marketing
Like
genius.
she's out there. Like I said, she's a go getter for sure. So
She's a
can't
go-getter.
fault her for that.
Yeah,
Can't fault her
I don't
for
know. I
that.
don't know if she deserves to go on the naughty list or nice list. I don't know. This is a difficult one. I'm gonna say naughty list.
Depends on the day with Bonnie Blue, I would imagine. But
Yeah.
I
But
don't
all right,
know,
that is
man.
our episode 37.
Yeah.
Call it a ham
So
basket.
to all of our listeners, have a wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate, Kwanzaa, Festivus. Have a wonderful one with your family because that's all that matters. And a
Yep.
wonderful new year. And we'll check you out in 2026 for sure.
That's right. All right. Peace. See y'all next year, or if not before. We're gonna see. We're gonna see before. We're gonna do podcasting. No. I forgot. January is the new year. Yeah. See you next year. All right. Peace. Fuck. Oh no. How do I stop recording? I just had a fucking brain fart and recording.